Good morning. Happy Monday. It is time for just a word from the Word. As promised, it's earlier and it is at a different place, but it is time for just a word from the Word. Our passage this morning comes from the book of John, chapter 6, verse 9, and I'm actually reading from the New Living Translation. It just makes much more sense coming from that particular translation. So here we go. There's a young boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. This is the question that is on my mind. But what good is that with this huge crowd? This is something I've been thinking about since Saturday morning, and I just cannot get away from the significance of the insignificant. Jesus is teaching to a crowd of over 5,000 people. This would be a caterer's nightmare. How in the world would you prepare enough food for that many people? It's also a preacher's nightmare because as a minister, you would have to be prepared to feed spiritually that many people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of food, physically or spiritually. That's a lot. Have you ever looked at your circumstance and said, what good is what I have to offer compared to the greatness and the vastness of the need? Now, you know the story, and that's kind of the clinch here. You know what's going to happen. You know that a little boy who had 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, he's going to give that food to Jesus. Jesus is going to bless it, break it. It's going to be multiplied. Everybody's going to be able to eat. All 5,000 plus people are going to be able to eat. And there's going to be 12 huge baskets left of food. You know the story, and that's kind of the sad part about it because our minds, our hearts can go down that rabbit trail and you can shut me out because you know the story. But have you ever stopped to consider that that little boy was probably not the only person in that huge crowd that had food? Have you ever stopped to consider that the others that had food were asked if they had anything that they could share with the group? Have you ever considered that those other people that had that food, because you know there had to have been more than that one small boy that had food in that crowd, did those other people, and I think that they did, looked at what little that they had and said, amongst this many people, my little is insignificant. And so, because they saw their little as insignificant, they did not even give what they had. I wonder if after the miracle of those 5 barley loaves, those 2 fish, after they had been multiplied and everybody, including the other people that had their own food, after everybody had eaten, did those people that had a small, insignificant amount of food compared to the crowd, did they look at what they had differently? And so, really, that is this morning's just a word from the Word. I have been challenged and I am challenging you. Don't see the little that you think that you have to offer and compare it to the vastness of the need, and allow what feels like to you is something that is insignificant. Do not allow the vastness of the need to hinder you from offering your little. You may remember the old chorus, little is much when God is in it. Labor not for wealth or fame. There's a crown and you can win it if you'll go in Jesus' name. Your little is not so insignificant that it cannot become significant in the hand of the Lord. So here's this morning just a word from the Word for you. Place your little, what feels insignificant, place it into the hand of the Lord and let Him do with it as He will. You may just see how significant your little really is. This has been just a word from the Word. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Have an amazing afternoon. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow morning.